And we're here at the Tech Policy Summit in San Mateo, and I guess the question would be, I'm Andrew Feinberg, who are you?
That's my favorite question. And there's actually a reason I ask that question at the beginning of every video. There's Chris Shipley, by the way. I'm Robert Scoble, and I work for Rackspace now, but I've worked for Microsoft and Fast Company magazine and stuff like that. So I go around the world doing exactly what you're doing, trying to have conversations with interesting people and interviewing them.
You just get paid a lot more to do it. And you do a good job. But, I wanted to ask your thoughts about $7.25 billion for broadband. You're working for Rackspace. Rackspace has boxes that attach to tubes, let's say. And these tubes that they're building, the idea is to go to unserved and underserved areas. And you live in Half Moon Bay. That's a pretty well served area.
It's actually a poorly served area.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Believe me.
Really? So what are your
options? First of all, I can't get over the air HD, so we're in a blackout area because we're behind a hill, so we can't get direct line of sight.
So
wireless.
You're
we
not
have no 3G. Our Comcast sucks because it doesn't bring HD video over the Comcast lines, so we don't have really true broadband like some of the people around the world, like in South Korea, have. And the phone lines are sort of sucky because we go over an earthquake fault, over a mountain to get to us, and the lines aren't all.
How does anyone ever get a hold of you, and how are you always on friendly then?
Well, I have decent bandwidth to the internet, but not enough to get really high quality HD video over my broadband. We actually bought DirecTV so we could get our TV off of the satellite, and I'd love to have, I'd love to use Boxy and get rid of the cable company, but I can't do that.
I won't show this to Kyle McSlaro, I promise.
Yeah. Hey, Kyle. Sorry, I'm trying to cut your industry a little bit back, but
it's okay.
I'm a mostly happy customer of Comcast actually on my internet service. So.
It's good to know Joe Woz won't have my legs broke. Yep. But really, what do you think about the idea that the president has made it a priority to get broadband internet service out to every American?
I'd rather invest in that kind of infrastructure than invest in roads, because that kind of investment will encourage innovation in companies that will be profitable, like a Google or a Yahoo or a Facebook that just got sprung up, or a Twitter. Yeah. And for each one of those companies that springs up,
may or may not be profitable, but
well, at least they're bringing income into, they have a chance of bringing income into the United States.
They don't need bailouts yet.
Not yet. They get bailouts of another variety, of the venture capital variety. But at least the capitalists are giving them money because they expect that in the future they will be highly profitable businesses.
But
right? Google is highly profitable, right?
So, right, exactly. Very.
What we want to do is build some more Googles so that we have brand names around the world that everybody likes that are American. That's one aspect. Two, that they're going to spend money on advertising or on commerce or virtual goods or something like that, and bring money back into our economy instead of sending it over to the Chinese economy, right? Because if we keep doing that, we ain't going to have an economy sooner or later.
Right. Being as connected as you are.
Yeah.
Do you, and this is something that gets asked pretty often, and it's a point of contention. Do you think that broadband service is becoming, or even, let's go a step further, has become a utility, not an amenity?
Hello.
Yes, it's really close to that, especially with the Hulus and stuff like that, and the Boxies. I know people who don't have TV anymore. They just get the internet, and set up Boxy, which is a free service, and now you can watch TV on your computer or on a device that's hooked up to your big screen, right?
Right.
Hulu does the same thing, right? And that's from the TV industry. So. Right. The way we all are participating in media is changing quite rapidly. I watched, I was the first American to tell somebody else about the Chinese earthquake because I was watching Twitter and saw people talk about the earthquake in live time.
I remember.
That was not possible 5 years ago.
Yeah. Right. Same thing with the Twitter revolt on the floor of the House last year.
Absolutely. I mean, the fact that John Culberson can talk to his constituency using a quick cam like the one you're holding, and Twitter, and talk to people live and get feedback is I think will be transformative. It hasn't quite gotten to that level of hype yet, but it's close.
So really, we've got Americans. You got to have water, you got to have electricity, or your landlord's going to get slapped.
Well, if you don't have access to the internet, you're really a second-class citizen at this point, compared to people who have access.
Well, exactly. So let's just take a step further. You said you can't get your DTV signal. June 12th's coming up. But wired or wireless, where do you see the future moving in terms of getting everyone connected? How do we do it? What's your opinion? Just give me something.
Well, that's a tougher one because there's commercial forces that bring these technologies in their house, right? I'm paying $60 a month for my cable, right?
And then how much for your internet?
Can afford that, right? Especially in this economy where a lot of my family are laid off, right? So, they're looking at every bill like $60. I can't afford that right now, and so that's yet another person who gets cut off with broadband, and that's investment money that will never appear to bring broadband to a new community, right? That
right.
Doesn't happen today.
Exactly.
And America has some big problems. One, we're a big country. We're not like South Korea where you can bring a Ethernet line in and there's 400 families in one apartment building.
Oh, yeah.
Here we have, in Half Moon Bay, we have 13,000 people spread out over a pretty wide area, and Half Moon Bay is actually a pretty centralized community compared to some of the people who live down on the coast, and that's why there's
Idaho.
Idaho. My mom lived in Montana, and her closest neighbor was like half a mile away. So you got to bring, either fiber or copper that half mile just to get from their house to their house.
Well, you got to dig the trench first,
and that's expensive.
Which begs the question. A lot of people, there's some guys here that talk about fixed wireless and.
Wireless is a problem though too. Like in Half Moon Bay, I live behind a mountain, so now you got to put up more towers to cover an area that doesn't have good geography for wireless. It's a really tough. Go drive down Pacific Coast Highway and see how long you have 3G for.
Right.
Oh,
Out
definitely.
of a 5-hour drive, I had 3G for 25 minutes.
Right. That's right. Yeah.
So wireless is not going to save our butt and get everybody on broadband.
And fiber isn't either. It's going to be both, you think?
It's going to take some investment. I'd rather, Obama and the Congress throw money instead of building some airport in some Congress guy's backyard that only has 20 users a month, or a day. Spend that money into bringing everybody broadband because some kid in Idaho might wake up and design the next Facebook.
Speaking of that, Congressman Mike Honda the other day said that he would support a system similar to the Highway Trust Fund to maintain a national broadband network, and through his position on appropriations, and I think it was really off the cuff, but. You think that's a good idea?
Absolutely. Look at our investment, our government investment in railroads, and what that did for us as a country. It joined us together and made it possible for us to get lettuce from Gilroy over to New York in a few days, and therefore we created value that we couldn't create without that.
And they still work great on the East Coast.
The interstate highway system did the same thing and allowed Walmart to build a distribution system that is second to none, right? And create huge amounts of value. Now we need broadband to do the same thing again for the modern world, where we're going to have thinking people who are building innovative companies that do stuff on the internet. It's a competitive thing for a country, right?
That's, I couldn't agree more. Well, this is Robert Scoble, Managing Director of Building 43.
Yeah, building43.com or on Twitter or on Facebook or on FriendFeed. It's a decentralized global community of people who are fanatical about the internet.
He's everywhere. He could be in your home right now and you wouldn't know it. Look behind you. It's Andrew Feinberg with Broadband Census. Thanks a lot.
Thanks.